Morning, everybody. Can you all hear me?
Indeed we can.
Sweet, cool. Well, welcome to Opera Hack. My name is Angel Mannion. I am the program director of Opera Hack, and I'm the person you've been in contact with up until this point. So it's great to see all of you. Got about 75 people in here, which is great. Over 150 people participating. And I'm super excited to start all of this. Before we get started, I just want to thank our sponsors, Opera America, for providing us with this incredible innovation grant. And thank you to Justin Dake of San Diego Opera for helping us write that grant and manage it. Thank you to Qualcomm for helping us sponsor this event. And thank you to Right Hand Events, who is running it, specifically Neil Fullerton, who is behind the scenes, which none of you all see, but I want to give him a specific shout out. Thank you, man. Appreciate you and for helping all organize all this over the past few months. Opera Hack has been an evolving platform since we started. The last time that we did it, we had a little bit of a different format than most of the people that are here again will recognize. We had a hackathon the first year, and the following year, the money that we had dispersed to teams went towards research and development. So this time we are distributing that funds differently in that we're going to have 2 hackathons. So some of you asked of like, these proposals that you saw before are were just very in-depth and involved in the videos that you saw. It's because they had a full year of money in research and development. So this year we're just looking at the ideas themselves. And so Opera Hack is a chance for us to get together and talk about our issues that we have within our industry. And so this time around, we were like, if we're going to do Opera Hack again, we should just do a little bit of research on our end to identify challenges that can serve as conversation starters that are within our industry and just start from there so that we all have starting points of where to solve problems. So we'll go over all that in a minute. I just wanted to give you a little brief context of where we're coming from and what we're doing with the grant money this time around. Before we get all into weeds, I'd like to introduce David Bennett, who is our general director and the creator of this concept. And yeah, David, would you like to give a background of where you came up with this idea and yeah, just introduce yourself and where you think it's going to go.
Sure. Thanks, Angel. I will try to stay out of the weeds. I'm hoping that we're not going to be too weedy today, but yeah, I'm the general director of San Diego Opera. Was an opera singer and a voice teacher, so I've lived opera for most of my life. So this, as Angel said, this is a grant from Opera America that's focused on innovation. And the grant itself, the guidelines for the grant were really pretty open-ended. It could be innovation in any part of the opera industry. It could be innovation in administration, marketing, fundraising. It could be taking innovations from other industries and applying them to Opera America. But when we wanted to apply for this and put forth a proposal, it was important for me to look and say, well, what would make sense for San Diego? And if you've not been to San Diego, you may know from hearing about us that we have gorgeous beaches. The weather's nice all the time. We have a great zoo. Those are the things that people think about when they know of San Diego. But San Diego also has very strong performing arts organizations. And the opera here is an old organization. We are in our 56th year, I think, this year. So we've been around a long time, one of the older opera companies in the country, but also very terrific theater companies. So the theater industry here is sort of a very important part of San Diego. And then the other piece of what makes San Diego kind of unique is technology. Big technology city in various areas. Biotech, also Qualcomm, who you may know of, is one of the sponsors, is our largest company in San Diego. So the idea of technology combined with the performing arts made sense for San Diego. And that's how we came up with this idea. There are also really fine universities here that have engineering programs where hackathons are kind of in the air. So that's how we came up with it. We thought, you know, what would make sense for San Diego and what would also make great sense for this industry? And that's how the hackathon came about. As Angel said, this is 2.0. And, you know, since the last one that we had, the world has changed a little bit. You may all know we've had this issue called COVID, you may have heard of. And just like everything, we've had to change how we plan to do things. San Diego Opera over the past year has actually we've done 2 performances, but we weren't able to do them in front of sort of typical live audience. So we decided to do them in a drive-in format where we kept the audience in their cars, dealt with the safety of the performers on stage. So we've had to think a lot about how we're going to do things differently during this year. And the virtual Opera Hack 2.0 came about because of that. But I really think, you know, reflecting on this, it's going to be so much stronger this year because we're doing it virtually. First, as Angel said, we have, you know, over 150 participants this year, and we had 40 something in the first Opera Hack. So just the ability to be able to engage more people participating and also internationally is really terrific. And that's something that's come about because of this year having to have this virtually. Also, I've been looking on the Discord server, which many of you are already logged onto, I hope. And there's just a ton of brilliant ideas that are already percolating up through the Discord server. So using that as a tool, a virtual tool, will put us, I think, in the world of how can technology really help challenges in our industry. And that's really what this is all about. And I'm thrilled to have all of you participate. And we have great brain power here, and it's putting great brain power together, ideating, coming up with great solutions. And that's why we have you all. I know Angel's going to give some of the rules and the criteria and talk about those, but I wanted to focus on one, and it's we talk about actionable and achievable. The idea, what we mean by that really is that we don't want it to just be theoretical, but it doesn't need to be carried out in the award money. We want to make sure you understand that. It just needs to be something that somewhere down the line could actually be achieved, and focusing on how technology can help the challenges in our opera industry. Audience, on stage, backstage, embracing our community, all of the things that you'll see in the challenges that we'll pose. But that's what this is all about. I'm thrilled to have you guys with us, and I'm gonna stay out of the weeds. Thanks.
Thanks, David. Neil, can you change to the next slide so we can go to the rules? So here are the rules. Participants are welcome to work alone or in teams. Every participant will be allowed to submit and be a part of 2 proposals. Must submit proposals through the proposal submission form, which is the Google form. It is linked in a few emails that I've sent, but it's also can be found in the Discord server. The deadline to submit proposals is Tuesday, July 6th at 11:59 Pacific Standard Time. Winners will be selected by Saturday, July 31st. $15,000 will be divided and awarded to 3 winning proposals at $5,000 each and paid by Tuesday, August 30th. So I have a month to make sure all the checks are written out. And if a winning proposal belongs to multiple participants, the award money will be paid to a designated team leader. It will be the team leader's responsibility to distribute those funds to other team members. So that just makes it easier on our payroll. It's what we did last time too. I would just want to say that, you know, I want to be transparent that $15,000 for this is just not a lot of money, right? And so we want to make sure that the overall goal of Opera Hack is to make sure that we can provide a space for you to meet new people and work together. I think that this project is a success if you continue to work with new people after this project is over and make new connections. That's how we're going to solve problems with this industry, that these challenges that you see really serve as discussion starters. And remember that the proposals that you submit, they don't have to be an idea to solve a problem that we have identified. It can be a completely new idea. So we want to hear everything that you've got. So just know that really we have identified these challenges as places for you to start from if you have nothing else, that you haven't thought about anything else. But remember that the way that you want to spend your time on this is really by making connections. And this $15,000 is an incentive for you to submit ideas. You know, we obviously can't, I wish that we could provide more money. That's just not what this particular year has in front of us as a resource. However, what I want to do, especially me as a program director for this, is to do everything I can to make sure that you have the best opportunity to meet someone new and work with someone new continuing going forward. Okay, so just wanted to say that and get that out of the way. Neil, can you go to the next slide? And the proposal selection process. David alluded to this a little earlier, but proposals will be evaluated on the following criteria. Is the idea or project innovative? Has this been done before? Does it improve on a current system? Is it actionable? How quickly could this idea become a working product? Replicable by others? How easy would it be for opera companies to implement this idea? Is it achievable? Is this idea realistic? Can it be achieved given its cost and current technology? Impact on the industry. Could this become a new industry standard? Could this change the trajectory of theatrical production? And for the exact proposal guidelines, please reference the welcome packet, which is also on the proposal submission form. David, can you go over the achievable and actionable thought one more time, now that they have context?
Yeah, so I think, again, the most important is the achievable. So we want to stay away from something that is purely theoretical, like saying we have a sense where technology is headed, and so somewhere in the future we imagine that this could happen. We really want to see how technology today, and it can be a wide berth. And remember, again, we're not asking you to figure out how you can fund it with $5,000. That's not the point. The $5,000 is an award for an idea. But if you understand technology, today's technology, and how that can face the challenges. And then actionable, yes, it's going to need to become a working product at some point, and what is the process and timeline for it to becoming a working product?
Great. Yeah, and also just to make it clear that all of you own the ideas that you have created. We don't take any ownership of the ideas that you are. We're not looking for ideas that we can then take and then go make money off of them. Actually, the complete opposite. If you think of an idea and you don't even want to submit it to Opera Hack because you think that it could be a future business model or whatever, like, that's great. Go take it. We don't have to make it public. Just if you could throw a shout out of, we came up with this idea, it's turned into a business model, and we thought of it at Opera Hack, then like everybody wins, and that's great. So just know that anything you submit, we're not trying to take ownership of. You own it, you have it. This is really just a place to, foster ideas and stuff. We want to be here to help that.
Yeah, Angel, let me just put a little fine point on that, because that's really important, that, we really respect the idea of intellectual property. So ideas are yours, they're not ours. The point of this is to give you a platform for ideas, but they're your ideas.
Yep. Great. Next is I'd like to introduce the advisory panel and the challenges. So before we do that, I just want to say thank you to all the advisory panel that has been a part of this so far. They've given an incredible amount of time. I love all of you. All of you will love them too. Please take advantage of their office hours that you see on their Discord server that they're available for. And without further ado, here is the advisory panel and all the challenges.
I'm Sarah Ellis, and I'm the Director of Digital Development at the Royal Shakespeare Company. And I've been working in the field of digital for the last 10 years at the RSC, and also on a body of work that has seen huge amounts of collaboration with arts and technology across the UK arts sector over the past few years. This is my first year as an advisor for Opera Hack, and I'm delighted to be part of this year. And it's a huge pleasure to introduce challenge number 1. My challenge to you is, how do we look at togetherness virtually? How do we find emotion and connection through our digital tools, and how do we bring them alive? How do we make them breathe, and how do we make sure we don't lose that heartbeat of live performance when we connect with each other when we can't be together? The reason around this challenge is because over the past 18 months, with what we've faced as venues and performance spaces, when we can't be together, we've had to access and use technology to find those things within us, to create experiences that find togetherness, look at liveness, and find forms of connection that we never imagined would be what we would have at this time. And as we come out of the pandemic, it feels to me that this challenge, by looking at being together virtually and how we welcome people back into our buildings, is going to be super important. So how do we use technology with audiences that are going to be together in person, but audiences that may want to still connect with us virtually, and how do we give them the best experience possible? Can we look at those digital tools to find new ways of connection and liveness? Can we find ways that make them feel alive and personal and close? And can we think about those technologies accessibly and inclusively? That's my number 1 challenge to you. And now, introducing challenge 2 is Rocky Jones.
I'm Rocky Jones, and I'm the Director of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion at Minnesota Opera. I've been an art maker in one capacity or another all my life, but I've been at Minnesota Opera now for almost 5 years. This is my first year as an advisor for Opera Hack. So challenge number 2 is, how can technology be used to help foster and promote a more equitable, diverse, and inclusive opera industry? We know that for much of its history, the Opera House has been a venue of exclusion for a number of marginalized communities, including but not limited to Black, Indigenous people of color, women, the LGBTQ+ community, and the disabled. We also know that in order for the art form we all love to survive and thrive well into the future, we must provide a more safe, accessible, and equitable environment for people from a diversity of backgrounds and experiences to create and enjoy opera. We believe that technology has an important role to play in this work, not only when it comes to what you see on stage, but also in areas behind the scenes as varied as audience development, artist development, staff recruitment, and more. So with an eye to the present, the past, and the future, what tool, system, or resource can you devise that would aid in the creation of a more equitable and inclusive opera industry? And now, here's Molly Braverman to introduce challenge number 3.
I'm Molly Braverman. I'm the director of the Broadway Green Alliance, and I've been working in the theater for well over a decade. This is my very first year as an advisor for Opera Hack. Challenge number 3 is, how can technology help with the measurement and benchmarking of environmental, social, and financial impacts? There are multiple measurement tools available to help shows and institutions measure their carbon footprint, financial health, and other key impacts. However, to date, they have relied on clunky technology and are not easy to use. As most arts organizations have little time to devote to this type of measurement, developing streamlined and easy-to-use tools will be key in adoption and success. For example, you can look at Julie's Bicycle's creative green tools at juliesbicycle.com. Next up is Ryan Hunt, who will introduce challenge number 4.
Hi, I'm Ryan Hunt, Principal Software Engineer for the Walt Disney Company, and I've been working with software for over 25 years. This is my second year as an advisor for Opera Hack. How can technology help to create an interactive who, what, where document to automate the process of distributing changes to cues, calls, and production calendars to different departments in real time? Stage managers often spend several hours preparing rehearsal documents for specific scenes, only to have them be restaged the next day. A customizable piece of software that can update and distribute show cues to every department when a master copy is altered would save companies time, money, and paper. This also applies to production departments. Additionally, it is important for stage and production managers to be fully present for the technical rehearsals so that they can maintain a safe environment backstage. However, those rehearsals often come after a full day work of manipulating paperwork and coordinating small changes with various departments. Safety is one of the most important jobs of a backstage manager, and the better rested they are, the more effectively they can keep everyone safe. And now, here's Shiva to introduce challenge number 5.
Hello, I'm Shiva Kaloli, and I'm an associate producer at Lux Machina. I've been working in the field of virtual production for roughly 3 years now, but I've been in the entertainment industry for almost a decade. This is my first year as an advisor for Opera Hack. Challenge number 5 is, how can we create a system or application programming interface to take lighting design information from Vectorworks and automatically bring the design into an Unreal Engine or other game engines for real-time visualization? Lighting designers across the industry use Vectorworks to plan their lighting designs for sets, and then they use a variety of pre-visualization programs to see how the lighting might work on set. Many of these programs are expensive, clunky, and slow. It would save tremendous time and money if the complete design, from instrument choices, hookups, etc., could be brought into a real-time visualization engine and allow the LD to pre-program the show to a variety of industry standard formats for light boards. This would allow the lighting designer to essentially design and program the show before the set is even built. Next up is Matt Whitcamp to introduce challenge number 6.
I'm Matt Whitcamp, CEO of Campfire Studios, and I've been working in user experience design for more than 2 decades. This is my second year as an advisor for Opera Hack, and we're very excited for round 2. Challenge number 6 is, how can technology help us to rethink the super title system so that broader accessibility and engagement is accomplished? Most audiences are aware of the super title systems available at operatic events, but titles are usually far above the stage or reliant upon personal devices, and either option can pull a person out of the experience by dividing their attention. Is there a more efficient way for us to implement supertitles to translate in multiple languages without taking our eyes off the stage? I still remember the first time I attended an opera, and yes, my attention was divided. My gaze was a bouncing ball that bounced between the supertitles and the performance. We imagine that there's a better way to create a more engaging and immersive experience for audience members. And now introducing challenge number 7 is Debbie Wong.
My name is Debbie Wong, and I am coming to you from the unceded territories of the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and the Squamish nations, colonially known as Vancouver, British Columbia. I am the founding artistic director of Renaissance Opera and the creative director of Orpheus VR. I've been working in opera creation and production for about 8 years now, but this is my first year as an advisor for Opera Hack. So I'm putting forward challenge number 7, which is, how can technology streamline a way for us to better understand the cultural contexts, cultural appropriation, and racial and gender stereotypes that are present in most of our popular operatic works, so that companies and artists can make informed decisions on whether to or how to ethically produce these works today. Justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion are being discussed throughout the operatic sector, and especially in connection to the classic canon of works, which stem from Western European cultures of the 19th and 20th centuries. But as we all work towards more inclusive workplaces, how can we also work to dispel the myths of art for art's sake and the creative genius of certain works and creators that contribute to destructive racial and gender stereotypes being perpetuated on our stages? Next up is Charles Murdoch-Lucas to introduce challenge number 8.
Hi everyone, I'm Charles Murdoch-Lucas. I'm a scenic and integrated media designer for theater, opera, and video. I'm also the head of scenic and integrated media design for our BA and MFA programs at San Diego State University. I've been working in the entertainment industry for 13 years, and this is my second year as an advisor for Opera Hack. Challenge number 8 is, how can we find technological solutions to prototype full-size sets using cost-effective materials such as cardboard for collaboration, cost-saving, and even a rehearsal? On every production in the USA, scenic designers use a variety of pre-visualization methods to help them and their collaborators visualize what the final set might look like on stage, including 2D drawings and renderings, 3D computer models, and small physical scale models. The stage management team and director then visualize the scenic design using these tools, and they also tape out the ground plan of the set on the rehearsal room floor. Having a fast, cost-effective, and reliable workflow to turn designers' 3D models into full-size, 1-to-1 scale mock-ups would be very useful. Perhaps the pre-cut pieces of cardboard could even fold together to create the mock-up. This would save considerable time and money. The full creative team could then use this tool to visualize the use of the space. Introducing challenge number 9 is Isaac Munoz.
My name is Isaac Munoz, and I'm a staff engineer at Qualcomm in San Diego, California. I've been working in audio for the last 8 years, recently completing a PhD in computer music from UCSD. This is my first year as an advisor for Opera Hack. Challenge number 9 is, how can technology help to make it easier for composers to holistically collaborate with new designers, technologists, librettists, and production teams when writing new operas? We have few systems in the US outside of universities that encourage innovation and collaboration in the creation of new works. Composers are often tasked with writing new content for the stage, with little idea of how to use available technology to complement the story. How might technology help composers spend more time writing music by creating a new industry standard for collaboration with colleagues in different disciplines and production departments while developing new operas? And now here is Jennifer Dauterman to introduce challenge number 10.
I'm Jennifer Dauterman, and I consider myself a champion of innovation and positive change for the music sector. I'm the founding director of Classical Next, and I'm currently developing new projects which also have to do with innovation for this sector that we love. All right, so I'm going to introduce a challenge. How can technology help us identify common needs and facilitate ways for small and medium level companies to share, pool, and leverage resources so that the sector can collectively grow and thrive? Many small and mid-level companies face capacity barriers which inhibit growth. This can include limited administrative capacity, a lack of financial resources to secure performance spaces, costumes, or props, limited capacity to hire marketing teams, and so forth. These companies play an important role in our sector. They commission many new works. They take artistic risks. They hire artists. And they tend to have equity-seeking mandates and mission statements rooted in social justice and affecting positive systematic change. An example of success in this challenge might be developing an easy way for two companies to identify and share resources, to hire one full-time employee rather than the same worker being an independent contractor for two different companies. So there it is. And now I hand over to Dr. Chris Warren for challenge number 11.
Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Warren, Assistant Professor of Digital Composition and Sound Design at San Diego State University, and I've been making digital music for 30 years. This is my second year as an advisor for OperaHack. Challenge number 11 is, how can technology be used to improve the acoustic response of both performance space and support vocalists without using direct miking of performers? Opera has long had a tenuous relationship with sound amplification technology, which can often substantially color the sound it's magnifying. So with this challenge, we'll explore alternative methods for enriching the sound of a space, which do not rely upon handheld or handset microphones. Next up is Steve Lucas with challenge number 12.
I'm Steve Lucas, Director of Product Management for Qualcomm XR. This is my 8th year working in the XR industry and my first year as an advisor for OperaHack. Challenge number 12. How can we create a secure method of sharing rehearsal videos for production that also has time-stamped collaborative note-taking? The design of lighting, media, and even scenery is often directly tied to specific moments in a production. Recording a production rehearsal to gather information about timing in a performance is very useful, but concerns about privacy prevent these files from being effectively distributed. So a secure system for storing recordings that also allows fast and easy collaborative timestamping would be helpful for designers to collaborate together on large productions. And that's challenge number 12. Next up, here is Zachary Sharpell to introduce challenge number 13.
My name's Zach. I'm a mechanical engineer at Qualcomm, and I've been in the fields of research technology and clean energy for about 10 years. This is my first year as an advisor for the OperaHack, and I'm super excited to show you guys what challenge 13 is. Are you ready? How can technology help organizations reach their sustainability goals by developing a database for tracking and sharing their inventories with design teams and other institutions? One of the main obstacles to the reuse of scenic, prop, costume, lighting, and other elements is the lack of real-time inventory. Having a database that can be shared in advance with visiting designers and technicians would go a long way to implementing reuse practices. It would also allow for other organizations to borrow or rent existing materials. And last but not least, introducing the two final challenges are Vita Tsekun and David Adam Moore.
Hi, my name is Vita Tsekun, and I'm the Executive Creative Director of an experiential and production design studio called Sensios. I'm also a co-founder of an art collective called Glimmer, which is a multidisciplinary art collective based in New York, and a production designer for stage and film. I've been working as a production designer for opera for about a decade now, and I would like to present challenge number 14. How can technology help with creating an anonymized open source platform for artists where they can share their fees for designing and performing in opera houses and theaters of all professional levels around the world? Fees for creative teams and performers can range dramatically, depending on the size of the opera house, its geographic location, scale of the project, and experience level of the worker. This makes it very difficult to assess industry standard compensation ranges and learn what fees might be expected in any given situation. What if an artist could log into a platform and check what type of compensation their peers have received in the past in similar situations? Could we use AI to cross-reference opera titles with budget levels and geographic locations? If that would be possible, that would empower the artists and allow them to make smarter choices when deciding what projects to engage in. And now here's David Adam Moore to present challenge number 15.
I'm David Adam Moore. I'm an operatic baritone, digital media artist, stage director, and I'm the head of creative technologies for the immersive design and production studio, Sensios. I'm also the co-founder and artistic director of a New York-based art collective called Glimmer. My challenge is, how can technology help to create a better audition process for singers? The audition process is notoriously daunting, bureaucratic, and expensive for singers, especially at the young artist and graduate school levels. So we'd love to find out if there's a technology that can innovate the audition experience for singers, something that can make it more streamlined, equitable, and accessible while still maintaining the personal connection and experience of in-person auditions. That's all for now. That's the last one. We're all looking forward to working with everyone this month, and I can't wait to see what everyone comes up with.
Thank you, Neil, advisory panel, for that video and just everything that you've done to help us prepare for this. I want to say that a lot of you participants could easily have been on this advisory panel too. So please keep that in mind as we're going forward. And if you have ideas to make this process better, please let me know, because we're all about that. Next exercise, I'm going to introduce Jennifer Dowderman of Classical Next, or founder of Classical Next, who has some pretty cool ventures coming forward for her. And she's going to lead us into some breakout rooms. So Jen, you want to introduce yourself and our exercise?
Thanks so much, Angel. That was a great introduction. And you just saw a wonderful video, all of you out there, and you got to know all of us on the advisory panel. And now we want to find out about you. So let's do that quickly. What do you do? We have a poll to find out. So please select now what it is that you do. Share it with us. Great, here we go. Really interesting results coming in. Quite a lot of scenic lighting, projection design, and management people here. Okay, come on and make your selection. We're almost there.
Yeah, it's meant to be broad.
Yeah.
I know that you can't get too specific with 10 options.
Yeah, we don't want to have a huge long list, but we're almost there. We've got 64 of 74. Maybe we should have had none of the above.
Don't worry, we'll do a follow-up poll when we do feedback with everybody.
Great. Okay, so your last chance. Okay, we've closed it. All right, so we've got a clear winner here with scenic lighting or projection design and management, followed by composition, audio engineering, and sound design. So, but we've got a pretty good mix right across the board. So thanks very much. And we can stop sharing now. Okay, so we can close the poll and stop sharing, because we're going to move on to seeing each other face to face. All right, so wonderful. Opera Hack exists to provide solutions for challenges, and we all face challenges in our work, no matter what we do. But solutions can be found. That's why we're all here. And there's a lot of expertise out there with all of you. So let's do a little warm up to make use of your expertise and also to get to know each other a little bit. That's what Opera Hack is also about, meeting new people with whom you can work. So please show the slide for our next exercise. Neil or Megan, can you whack that slide up for us, please? Oh, there it is. It's underneath. All right. So what we're going to do, it's a little exercise called 2 free consultants. You all are going to get a free consultancy session right now. You're going to go into breakout groups of 3 people, and you're going to take turns being 2 consultants and 1 client. Client, you're going to describe a current challenge of yours, and the other 2 people are consultants. So you consultants, your job is to give feedback, constructive feedback, find solutions for your client. Then another person is the client. Repeat. You have 10 minutes. Enjoy. All right, I see everyone's gradually coming back into the main room. And we're almost complete. Okay. All right, so I hope everyone had great discussions, got to exchange and get to know each other a little bit face to face so you could see each other and speak to each other. So this is great. Does anyone have a particularly useful piece of advice that they received that they'd like to share? If so, we've got a minute or two. Just unmute yourself and tell us about it and tell us who gave it to you. So just go ahead. Feel free to unmute yourself. Don't be shy. Anyone? Anyone out there?
Okay.
Okay, great.
can go.
Thank you. Please
Hi.
introduce yourself.
Oh, sure. Hi, I'm Lucy. Sorry, I'm a floating name right now. My camera isn't working. But I was in a great breakout room where we were discussing how to recreate the ritual of digital performances, and kind of touched on the subject of creating a room or a door for people to walk through. And my question was how can you raise incentive for people to engage, if you're doing interactive performance. And we talked about planting little seeds, having people kind of, be vulnerable first, and then people will follow. And I was wondering what's the ethical, boundaries of that. But I think maybe it's kind of valuable to think that it's nice to show people how to use a tool, right? You don't think anything badly about teaching someone how to use it. So similarly, teaching some kind of open way of interacting in a space is also could be something that we explore. So that was really useful for me.
Mm-hmm. Great, thanks so much for sharing, Lucy. Okay, do we have time for one more person or do we need to move on? Neil? Okay, I think maybe we should move on because you're about to get more great advice. So you've got some great advice coming at you right now, brought to you by Matt Whitcamp, who you met in the challenge video. He's an expert in user experience design for immersive technologies, and he's the founder and CEO of Campfire Studios. So over to you, Matt.
All right, thank you very much. I believe that I'm on audio now, so let me share my screen. Share, there we go. And then let me organize this. Okay, so again, welcome everyone. We're super excited about this. I just wanted to introduce myself very quickly. A little bit about me. I'm CEO of Campfire Studios, background in UX and UI design, about 25 years worth. In a nutshell, we create digital experiences for mobile, web, TV, watch, AR, VR, pretty much any kind of platform out there. For us, each form factor or technology is just a conduit for delivering an experience to a user. And so Opera also has user experience. We deliver an experience to a user through performance. I'm excited to be back for the second round. We have this moment in time where great minds come together to come up with some great ideas and some solutions. And in the world of software development, I often run into an issue where developers and designers don't always get along. You could also say the same for creatives and technical folks. It's understandable. One speaks a language often consisting of journey, feeling, palettes, colors. The other speaks a language of SDKs, functions, code repos. So even though they don't always get along and they don't always understand each other, the thing is they're both trying to solve the same problem from different perspectives. I bring this up just because in a hackathon such as this, where we have creatives and performance and technical people coming together, just remember, we're oftentimes trying to solve the same problem just from different perspectives, and being open to hearing the other side can be a powerful way to help solve some problems. Today, while I have a few minutes of your time, I wanted to share a couple of the brainstorming tools that I use in my practice with my clients. I am more than happy to go offline and have side conversations with additional tools, but we have time for two. I know that everyone has likely seen, used, and felt the power of the Post-it note. I don't know if you can have an effective brainstorming session without them, but I'm not here to preach the Post-it. I'm here to help you get to that great idea. You may have a million ideas. You may need some help coming up with some more ideas. But the first tool that I wanted to share is centered in user experience design. It comes from the UX world. As a UX designer, my job or one of my many jobs, is to get inside people's heads. It has a lot to do with what we call user-centered design. During brainstorming sessions, the user is always at the center of our discussion. Who is our user? What kind of person are they? What are their needs? What are their wants? And in order to help us to understand those things, we will create what we call a journey map. It's just mapping a user's journey through any given experience, be it through an app, be it through an opera performance. You can apply this to really to anything. And it comes down to, what is the user doing? What is the user thinking? And what are they feeling? By understanding those things, we strive to uncover insights that we might normally consider. On the screen, I have an example of a journey mapping session that we did with a client. Now, I'm not expecting, if anyone wants to try a journey map, I don't expect it to look like this. This is what we took from the session, and this was the output that we gave to the client. So it looks nice, but don't expect it to look like this if you don't need the time to do that. In this example, we sectioned off a user's experience into 5 distinct phases. This is about kind of personal fitness and around health. And then we identified what they were doing, which you can see in the top half. Let me get my little pen here. Let's see, laser pointer. In this top half, you can see the 5 distinct phases separated into the columns. You can see the top half of what they were doing. We identified the activities that they were doing. We also identified how they were feeling throughout this experience. So you see some positive emotions going on here. You see some negative emotions happening. You see some transitions between the two. It's during those transition phases where things can get interesting. In a low area may be an area of frustration that could be resolved or supported in some way. A high area is great, but is the experience supporting that step in the user's journey? There's lots of ways that we can apply this. Next, I'm going to show you the bottom half. Here's where we collected our data from our brainstorming session. In the bottom half of the map, you can see, we identified what they're doing, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, but also you'll notice that there's a section down here for technology and industry, because the user is just one player in any given experience. In the realm of technology, oftentimes we have, the role of, what role does technology play? What role does the industry play? So those are all parts of our conversations, but the first tool is the journey map. Getting inside the user's head, looking at what that experience looks like, what it feels like, and what they're thinking. The next tool that I wanted to share is, if you find yourself in a brainstorming session that looks like this, here's a tool that I call the effort versus impact analysis. that will help you to sort through those things, because in a hackathon, great ideas are oftentimes abound, but how do you sift through them? If we take any given solution or a feature or experience and make that thing will have a certain level of effort in order to make it a reality. And if it's a technological based solution, how much coding does it take? How much, all of the process that goes along with that. Also, we can estimate the level of impact that we expect that thing to have. And if from here we have a map, if we map the effort along with the impact, we have a useful tool for sorting through ideas. For example, and let me switch my tool here. If let's say that we have a thing that requires a lot of effort, but we expect that to have a low impact, this is an area where we can expect to not have a good time. Tears may be shed. And this is an area that we would really want to try to stay clear of. Not that there isn't value in this quadrant, but for a hackathon where we're looking to get to solutions quickly, we try to typically try to avoid this effort. If we have something that has a high level of effort and a high level of impact, then we have a situation where it's going to be a lot of work. This is a longer term investment in either time or money to realize. If we have something that requires a low level of effort, but is going to have a low level of impact, this is an area where we're not sure if this is an area we want to be. And the kind of the spot that we love is low level of effort, but high level of impact. We love this quadrant. This quadrant is our friend. So again, this is just something to help sort through ideas. It's something that we use quite frequently, and it's it's just one of the many tools that we have in our tool set that we use with clients. So we have one more breakout session before we end. It's going to be a quick one. We did have these questions here for to discuss. To queue up the discussion. How many ideas are you considering? Do you plan to use these tools to narrow your focus? How might you use them? But even feel free to use this next breakout how you choose, even if you just want to touch base with your participants or things like that. We will go forward from there, and then we will come back and we'll close out today's session. Welcome back, everyone. Looks like everyone's popped back in. So hopefully everyone had a productive, quick breakout session. I just wanted to let everyone know that after this session, I'll be hanging on. If anyone has any questions for me, I'm happy to hang out for a little bit. But otherwise, I'm going to turn it back over to Jen.
Yeah, thanks very much, Matt. So we're running to the end of this opening session. And we just want to hear how it's been for you. Would you let us know? Here's a quickie poll. Please open the poll. Just let us know. Did you like this? Was this good for you? Was it like, meh? Okay. Well, I think we're doing okay. Pretty, you agree? Good. Okay, so I think we can now end the poll. I think the numbers are pretty good, so we can be proud of ourselves. And I wish all of you a wonderful month. And I hand now back over to Angel and to David.
Thank you very much, Jen. I'm just going to go over the events real quick before we close out. And so open discussions with me are, we will have 5 of them. Just to let you know, the difference between open discussions and panel discussions are open discussions that I'll be leading are just basically whatever anyone wants to talk about that day. If you have a topic that you'd like to discuss or bring up ahead of time, let me know, and we can just share ideas. It's mostly if you have questions about this in general, if you have suggestions for me, if you need help finding a team, yeah, reach out and we can lead a discussion that day. But it's really just for me to be available for you. The panel discussions will be more focused, where we'll feature our advisory panels members and talk about the challenges that are referenced here, and their expertise is listed there below too. If you feel like you have expertise that would help drive a discussion that's with the panel, let me know and we can add you to it. There's no reason why we can't make more use of the resources that are provided all around in this project. So yeah, let me know. You can skip to the next slide, Neil. And our closing ceremony will be on Friday, July 2nd. That is the schedule. This is all listed in the welcome packet. And I will add it to our Discord server as well. If I'm going to share my screen real quick, if you have not joined the Discord server, please do so. I'll share it right now. And this is what it looks like. I just added this important docs and links channel. So you'll see that these are listed here. I'll also add the schedule and advisory panel office hours and the hack challenges here. So it's just easier for you to find, and they're always going to be here. You're welcome, Murdoch. Events here, proposal questions. If you have fresh ideas that you'd like to talk about that are not part of the challenges, go ahead and share them here. And they're all listed here. But otherwise, we got a lot of like good stuff going on here. And I'd like to keep this thing open after the hackathon's over so it can just continue to brew ideas and discussions. And I'll stop sharing this. Let's go to the last slide. Neil, the next one. All right, so like I said, if you would like to help with a panel discussion, let me know. I would just ask that you let me know, I'm sorry, if you want to host an event, let me know by the Friday prior to when you'd like to host it. And it could be anything from an AMA, ask me anything, to talk about the field that you work in, demoing something you've been working on, or even just a fun happy hour. Just let us know by the Friday before that so I can put it on our weekly emails that I'm going to send out on Sunday. So going forward, I want to keep the emails short, so I know you all have a lot going on. So every Sunday I'll send out an email what's going on that week, and then all the other communication is going to go through Discord. So join that so everything just keeps going through there. Yep, see a lot of people that want to host happy hours. So let me know and I'll put them on the schedule for every week. And we can also make those, you know, open discussion happy hours, or they can be focused on anything that everyone wants to talk about. So just, again, just shoot me ideas and we can make them happen. All right, that is it for me. I'm going to leave it down to David Bennett to close us out.
Thanks so much, Angel. I won't take much more time. Just want to say thank you all for participating. I think this is going to be very exciting. I feel energized by the presentation today. I love the challenges, and I love the fact that you all want to get together and have virtual happy hours. And that means that you're going to have a good time working together virtually on this Opera Hack, and I look forward to seeing what the ideas will be. That's it.
Sweet. All right, Matt and I will stay online for anyone that wants to talk. Otherwise, thank you all for joining, and I'm super excited for the rest of this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thanks, great to meet everyone.
Yeah, it's good to meet everyone.
Yeah, anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I actually wrote it in the chat. Angel, hi, it's Elizabeth. But you know, maybe I can just ask it in person too.
Sure.
Would it be possible to make a group number, like a group challenge number 16 or something like that, with the edutainment and AI with classical music? Because apparently I'm not the only one who's interested.
Sure.
And I would love to explore that with other people.
Okay. How about, can you send me an email of like what the challenge question could look like, since I think you have an idea of what that particular, you know, challenge could be or look like, just so that you can word it in a way that would be most effective, and I'll just add it on there.
Definitely. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah.
And yeah, that's awesome. I don't know if there's any other, are there any other conductors, but I would also, if people want to know more about conductors and whatnot, I'd be happy to, you know, jump in. So just let me know if that's something of interest.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, no problem. Actually, if you can message me in the Discord server, then I can just copy and paste it right there.
Okay. Yeah, directly on the Discord platform.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for asking.
Well, I'll go fast. I was talked in my breakout group about NFTs, and it really occurs to me NFTs could be a really good way to interface with a lot of these options.
Totally.
I'm not a total major expert on NFTs and cryptocurrency, but I have made NFTs, and I do have cryptocurrency, and I have NFTs on different platforms, etc. So if anyone wants to talk to me about that, or maybe.
Right on, yeah. I'm all about crypto and NFTs and blockchain. We were talking about that for one of the challenges for inventory management and how, you know, different scenic items could be just, you know, issued at the, it's like a particular costume could be an NFT, you know, and how it's transferred between opera houses and stuff for inventory. So, yeah.
No, that's cool. I like that. Also, and NFTs can be, you know, for different pieces of music and things like that, because the person doesn't, the artist does not lose the rights to their music. They're just saying you have the original or whatever, which is meaningless, except that it's a collector item, etc. So I'd love to talk more about that with people.
Sure. If you want to put, that on the Discord, server in the general discussion, and maybe we can create, you know, a specific event just to talk about that.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Quick question for those of us who are sort of working as pre-existing teams, and that is it okay to have some of our team members visit the Discord even though they're not super involved in leading the discussion, so they can kind of internally keep talking with us as we send our main reps out?
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Angel.
Yeah.
Hi, Angel.
Hi.
Hi. I have a really good question. I'm a technologist, so I come from the UX, but the AR and VR field. I don't know anything about theater, or I don't even know what you kind of do. Conductors, is that like I don't know. Is there maybe?
You want to, yeah. So you're looking for something to do, basically, and like get connected with. But you're a problem solver in that, and we have no shortage of problems. So if you want to introduce yourself on the Discord server, exactly what you're talking about and what you do and what type of help you think you can provide, start there. And then if nobody reaches out, which I doubt, I'm sure people would, then I can help connect you to something maybe that you could be passionate about within your field, like that you could help with. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no problem.
Hi, I'm Cecil. Just jumping off of what Juliana said, I'm wondering if maybe there could be a session for those of us that are outsiders to the opera world. Like I'm a librettist, but that's not what I do. I'm a comic book writer. I'm a novelist. You know, I'm not in I didn't get trained in any way. So there's a lot of stuff that is very alien to me, and I'd love to, and so I feel shy. So I'd love to, you know, sort of maybe have a discussion of people who don't know much about, you know, sort of have formal opera or music or that kind of training to have a place to sort of talk or something.
Okay, sure. Let me, I'm going to create a channel right now. And
Angel,
I'm going to, yes.
I have a thought. A lot of my background is also in dramaturgy, and one thing we love to develop is a specific compendium of words and definitions and just things you should know. And since a lot of us are coming from different backgrounds and languages, I wonder if there's a way of having a working document where it's like, this is what I like, this is who I am, this is what I do. Things that might come up that might have a question.
Sure.
Like, someone might not know exactly what a libretto is and how that's different than a script, or I don't want to manage this, but
no, it's a great idea. It is a
yeah.
great idea. So what, and this is something that an idea that came up the last hackathon. So we actually already have somewhat of a small, like a place to start that I can add to it. And so on the Discord server, and I'll just share my screen one more time. Under docs and links, there's a hackathon roster. And in this, I think I'll just add, I'll make this I'll call it something else, and then I'll add a sheet that could be like definitions of what you're talking about. Does that help? Or maybe I should just create a new one. Yeah, I think I'll just create a separate one so it's easier to find. But
on the tech side of things, I don't know what anyone does. So it's also the same for me.
Sure, yeah. You're not the only one. You're not, none of y'all are the only ones. So I think you're right. We should have a space just for that. Cool, yeah. And also, people that work in technology need things to work on. And so it's really important for those of us that don't have any type of tech experience or operatic experience itself, like know that we all collectively have our own experience that we can provide in like figuring out what a problem is. And so even if you have no experience on the other side, your experience is still needed, because we can't work together unless, we just sort of dig into the weeds and figure out what we can help with. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Well, is there a way to make this like more user, like a big information share? Like, I'm sure there are things that Cecil and Juliana know that we don't know. So maybe that they could add a section of like, this is what I do. And like, this is, like one of the notes I just wrote down, like brush up on NFTs. Like, I know it's a non-fungible token, but like, what, like, oh, right. What does it mean I have to do with it again? Like, maybe there's a way that we can, like, this is a great icebreaker game.
Sure. Okay. So let me, like, what would you like me to create? Like, what would you like me to do?
Is there, there's so many different ways to do it, but like, is there a way that we could share a document where it's like here, and then you could fill in what you do know? And you could fill in like, this was filled out by Stacy Boggs, lighting designers, collaborative artists that come up with lighting, draftings, diagrams, blah, 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 and who did it. And then it could expound, or are we opening a huge can of worms?
I don't think it's opening a huge can of worms. I think I'm just still confused about what
how to make it so open.
What if it's like, how you were talking about people can host things? What if rather than it being one person hosting things, it's like a group of people? I did the Lincoln Center Directors Lab 2 years ago, and there was a whole session that was about learn about immersive theater. And so you had people who wore green badges and other people wore orange badges. The greens were the people who feel like they could add to the conversation, they have experience, and the people with orange badges didn't. And then we did that with different topics, and that was really helpful.
That's a great idea. Totally,
yeah. That reminds me of Giorgio Lupi too. Oh, sorry. If you guys know Giorgio Lupi, the designer who created a bunch of badges for TED Talk attendees, and basically it would like describe like your identity and like the things that you're like looking for and like your strengths and so forth. So like if there's a way to kind of like couple in like strengths and weaknesses too, that'd be good for finding partners.
Okay. Let me trying to figure out like how I would like where to start from that. Let's see.
What if we had like, I love the Cassandra, I love the idea of making it a face-to-face conversation rather than a document. So what happens if we just do the first one as like an idea swap or definition swap, where it's like, okay, we're going to cover some basic definitions in technology, and we're going to cover some basic definitions in theater. And if you feel that you want to brush up on either of those categories, then it's bringing people together of like, I would come because I need to brush up on my technology vocabulary, but somebody else might come because they want to brush up on their theater/opera vocabulary. Would that work?
It could. I think all of these things could work. I think for the moment, I'm trying to figure out what the right platform of where to start from it, and then we can have discussions that are more focused, right? So so what we're talking about is we're just trying to create a central, like a hub for people that are trying to brush up on new definitions and just figure out what, like where they fit into this and where we can meet it, like where, does that make sense? Or is that true of you're just trying to figure out like what type of information that you can provide and like what your skill set is and where you lack. And so I'm just sort of, speaking off of the top of my brain, but like, I think what we need is just maybe for now is a channel of like where to start. Like,
Angel, maybe there's some like natural partnerships that might occur too. Like for example, what I do works really well with a programmer and a projection map person. You know what I mean? So there are some natural complements for at least what I do, and then kind of create partnerships like that.
Yeah, we can pair that. On the roster too, that's listed here, has everyone's skill sets. And that could be used like if you're, if you are a librettist and you have interest in working with someone in augmented reality, for example, you could search that roster for AI or augmented or AR or augmented reality and find other people that are within that field, and you could reach out to them and ask questions. I can also, help pair people like that if that's something of interest to you. But in the meantime, I think what I'll do is I'll figure out what type of text channel it's going to be or what it'll be called. If you have an idea, then let me know. And then for open discussions, maybe the first one can just be of like, it can be just for people that are looking for teams to join. Or it could just be, or the next one, we could always have another one that is like just going over like broad definitions, like who would like to help facilitate a discussion about like what is theater and where you could ask like, what is, how do you define like a set? Like what does a set designer do? What does a lighting designer do? What does a librettist do? What does a stage manager do? Those types of things. It could also have one just on tech that might be of use. Does that help? We're just throwing about different ideas. So I'm just trying to figure out what is the most efficient way to create something useful. I'm sorry, I'm talking in circles, but.
No, I think that is useful because I get kind of overwhelmed. Like I looked at the Discord and I was like, oh my God, so many words and so many channels. And I have to it was overwhelming. And I do find this to be super helpful. So I'm kind of hoping that your open sessions are kind of more sort of, these sort of question things, because I get like, just like all of us, I'm overwhelmed by my email inbox. I'm overwhelmed by reading, and then my bread and butter is words. So it's like too much. So yeah, I'm hoping, especially since we're not together, that's part of the open sessions. And I would love that especially, to have one session that is just sort of like, hey, you don't know anything about opera, come on in, so that we can feel brave enough to be able to sort of speak, because we do, obviously, Juliana has expertise, I have expertise, it's just not in this form, but it can tend to make one a little bit sort of quiet.
Intimidated or overwhelmed. Yeah, I hear you. I completely agree. So, and it's good, it's good information to know. Yeah.
I think we could also, given that we are on Discord, which started in the gaming realm, we can take a cue from the gaming community, the LFG. So looking for a group. Maybe if we can add a channel on, hey, I am looking for a group to accomplish this or that. And we can label it something a little more friendly so people understand what looking for blank. Because I would encourage people just to reach out to people and have face-to-face conversations throughout this month, and just having a place where, I could browse LFG and say, looking for people, needing help with, user-centered design or VR, AR, or there's other areas that I have expertise in that might not be on my skill list, but I'm more than happy to talk about or brainstorm with.
Oh, I love that, Matt.
So that way it allows kind of, normally in a hackathon, we have everyone in the same room and we throw our, last time we threw up our names in all of the different categories. So it's like, oh, I need someone that has expertise in VR. Here's the people in VR. I'm going to go find that name tag, right? So being able to kind of facilitate that interaction in a virtual environment, we just need a place where people can say, hey, I'm looking for this. I don't understand this about the performance art. Can someone help me understand it? It could be just a 5-10 minute conversation, and then people are good. So I think the roster is great as a reference that can get people started, but also having in addition just some kind of place where people can just say, hey, where people can raise their hand.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's the place to go. So I just created a channel on Discord, and I'll explain it in the general, but it's called Looking For, and you can just add what it, so, this is looking for a team, looking for help with augmented reality, looking for help with blockchain or NFTs. And so you can introduce yourself of like what you have and what you're looking for. And then if no one, responds to that question, then I can jump in and reach out to someone who else is part of the roster and say, hey, would you mind helping Cassandra out with this topic that you know about, etc. Right?
Yeah, because then I could also see, oh, I'm not an I don't know as much about blockchain as Angel, but I see someone looking for help with blockchain. I can point that person, because a lot of us are just aware of what we all do, and we can just the whole point is just to help people get pointed in the right direction quickly. So.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Matt.
I have a question for Matt.
Thank you. Goodbye. You're lovely. I hope you're well. Thank you for facilitating this. This is a big old job, and this is a lot of people. And Angel and Matt, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't wait to meet everyone and see more faces. So
my pleasure.
Bye. Thank
If you have any more ideas, let me know.
Always.
Cool. Someone has a question for Matt.
Cynthia.
That was me. Hi. So this is a question about a personal project. When I saw your little journey thing, I was like, oh my gosh, we are in the depths of despair here. So I wonder how we're trying to unpack a house and make it look reasonable. And I wonder, how do you help people through those depths where people are like, oh my gosh, this is miserable. We're always going to be in this sort of feeling. And I feel less prepared than what I need to actually help my family through this process, even though this is a process I'm familiar with. I know it has an end. I know the end's going to be good, but they don't know this in their body because they haven't done it for this many years.
Absolutely. So yeah, the journey map's super useful. When we identify a low in the feeling category, in the emotion, oftentimes that's indicative of an issue or a problem that could, or sometimes not able to be addressed through some kind of solution of any kind. So in the case of unpacking a house, and it sounds like maybe you're dealing with little ones. You're on mute.
It's more the emotion of like, my mom inherited my grandma's house, so there's a bunch of emotional stuff around that, but then there's also overwhelmed by how many boxes there are and things like that. So,
yeah. So yeah, the journey map, it's in that particular case, it's taking a look at, okay, we've identified a low, how can we address that? And in this case, it would be, this comes into play with user experience design. Can we offer some kind of emotional support or mental support, mental health? Do we need to take a pause at that moment of a low, do a little bit of self-care? In an application, it would be, okay, do we need to pause and offer some help at this point so that they don't feel stranded or trapped in the experience? And just to, look at just kind of, it's a way of taking a step back and identifying, what can we do in this moment? Just to support that, because, emotions happen. It's not a bad thing to have an emotion, but sometimes we just have to deal with it. So.
Right. And if they become the dominating force, then everything just stops.
True.
Yeah.
Different players have different strengths, and it all comes into bear. Yeah, for sure. Sounds like a big challenge in your life. I wish you the best of in that. That's a rough one.
Yeah,
Lots of emotion.
Too, because we're trying to
Lot-
get done by such and such time, and so that just adds a little bit more pressure. And then it's like, okay.
Yeah, lots of emotion tied into an experience like that. Wish the best. Wish the best for you. So
yeah, same. Thank you for the vulnerability too.
Just wanted to say real quick, Matt, that I love your impact effort analysis, and I love the diagram. And me and Brenna, Diecast, are already discussing how making it just the logo for our company.
That's what I told Matt the first time that he presented that. I was like, that is how I'm going to approach my life from now on. You know, it is like put it on the back of my door before I leave.
I took Brenna took a shot of her screen and texted it to me. He's like, this is our new logo.
Awesome. I love giving people things that are useful. Yeah, there's other tools that we use as well. There's the known and unknown analysis. That one gets interesting. There's the what you know that you know, what you know that you don't know, but then there's the stuff that you don't know that you know, and then the one that bites you in the ass every time is the things you don't know that you don't know. You know, when creating digital experiences, oftentimes there's, we think it'll take this much to build it, but there's that one quadrant that you don't know what you don't know, and you have to kind of anticipate, you know, in a developmental effort, in the amount of time and money it will take to build something, that quadrant you have to expect, just plan for that. So
that's a great way to put words to that issue. I'm gonna duck out, but thanks everybody again. This has been super energizing. It was great to meet everyone.
Great to meet you, Chris.
So long.
And Matt, if you had another time when you were talking about problem solving in general, I would be interested in hearing that.
Okay. I'm also happy to do an offline session. Just if you want to just chat about stuff, we can put something on the calendar and we can just chat.
Okay. That'd be interesting. Maybe 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
What's the best way to reach you?
The area that has my most attention is my email. I'm trying to remember if my email's in the list. Here, I'll just post it in chat.
Okay.
Let's see. Chat, there we go. Yeah, that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. So.
Cool. Anybody have any other questions or suggestions?
I did have a question. I feel a little, because I love Post-it notes, but I've never heard about them being used in such a wall idea way. So I was wondering if you could go into that a little bit more. Like, I'm newbie to, like, I'm gonna be unleashed now. I'm very excited. But I would just love to hear about, like, is it because it's not, is it like darkening up the watercolor paper a little bit? It's like no idea is sacred, or if you could just expand on that a little bit and what the thought process behind it is, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, they essentially facilitate the brainstorming process. And, you know, when I do these kinds of sessions with clients, we always have a stack of Post-it notes, and that allow, you know, of course you can do brainstorming activities. There's the brain map. There's all sorts of different tools out there, but typically we like Post-it notes because we can say, okay, we want to talk about this pain point we've identified in the user journey. What can we do about this? Or even just to back it up a little bit, we don't even really know what's going inside the heads of our users. Who is this person? What do they do throughout their day? Like, not even talking about solutions of how we can fix the problem we think they have. It's like, let's just understand this user. And, you know, we'll do a day in the life of, okay, this user gets up in the morning and they are doing this and they're doing that, and they're touching this technology and they're touching that technology, and they're transitioning from this technology to the other, like from phone to desktop to, you know, whatever. And we just jot things down loosely, you know, there's no bad ideas. the great thing about Post-it notes, if we decide that an idea is not useful, we just rip it off and we just let it fall to the ground and we clean it up later. Post-its are also great because we can reorganize things as well. It also allows us to go to different places just to break up the environment of the session. So we might take something, you know, out of an office and go, you know, outside to just like some windows out and get outside. And so it just Post-its is just a very versatile tool of just getting down an idea quickly and then being able to sort, because essentially all those ideas are data that we're pouring out of our brains. We just want to get things out quickly so that we can kind of sort through them and sift them later. So yeah, I've got other photos of actual client sessions, and we've got just Post-it notes everywhere on whiteboards with different categories, and we're rearranging them, and it's a fun process. It's the part of the process that I probably enjoy the most. So.
Can I add something to that?
Absolutely.
I came across this when I started working in education, and people would put up categories and like, here's a problem. What ideas could we do about this? Or things like that. And it was like giant category, put your ideas. And then we were able to hone in on the 3 things that we wanted to do most or whatever. And it was a way of
absolutely.
making it.
That honing it. Oh, sorry.
That's the word. It was a way of making it more democratic. So it wasn't like my ideas are the best because I'm the most experienced in the room. Everyone had input.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it allows everyone to get the ideas up. There's that kind of the honing or the filtering process where, okay, now we have all these ideas up, we can start to process this brain data that we've collected. So it's just, the Post-its is really just kind of getting everything in your brain out into something that you can start to manipulate. It's kind of if I were to sum it up into a sentence.
Thank you.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I have to run. Matt, thanks for the extra time. And Angel, I totally ditto. Thank you for all your work and your organization and helping all of us do all the things.
Sure. Happy to help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Take care,
I'm going to
guys.
second that. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah. Feel
I'm
free to
a
reach
little
out.
bit
I'd love to
aware
chat
of
some more.
how that is, how that goes with this much, you know, to make sure that people coordinate information spreading is really, really important. So thank you. I've been good at that.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Cynthia.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Juliana.